All right, all right, all right. It's another beautiful morning. Welcome to Brandon Ivey, Bitcoin Brandon from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to our first crypto talk of 2019. It won't be the last. Happy New Year to everybody. Go ahead and type in the chat box your name, where you're listening in from, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I see Mafoose, our last Star of the Week winner from Laurel, Maryland. Bouvier from Dallas, Texas. Lynette. Brenda Abram, OKC. Bethany Gibbs, Seattle. Jonna Jones from Ohio. Moshe Frazier, Philadelphia. Fort Gomes. Good morning, good morning. No, I am not taking the day off. Today's the first day of the year. The countdown's on. The clock is ticking. 365 days. Now, as a disclaimer, I am not a licensed financial advisor to be dispensing financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share suggestions, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction you want to move into. There's 4 rules I live by in the crypto space to have success. Rule number 1, education is key. Education is everything. Rule number 2, never invest money you cannot afford to lose. Rule number 3, always get your money back as fast as possible. And rule number 4, where do you see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? What vehicle of choice are you using? Make a decision, take action, and remain focused. Do not get distracted. As Jack Ma said, you have to dig 1 hole to get to the water at the bottom of the well, as opposed to digging 10 potholes all over the place. Now, this is not going to guarantee you success, but it will at least minimize your risk. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most that we can ask for. So let me go ahead and get screen share started here. I see we have Eldridge back in Vegas. We're coming to Vegas April or May, Eldridge, for our launch. I see Anissa, Latifa, Rohan from Atlanta. We're coming to Atlanta February 8th, Rohan. Be ready. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. I have a lot to do today. What's going on, Anthony Pinkston? I'm not sitting idly by. Where's my screen share button? Here we go. I am going to start off, since this is the first crypto talk of the year, by reading quotes, 2 quotes, predicting the future. And it's not by some Bitcoin nerd somewhere, guru. It's from the Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer and the CFTC Chairman Rawson Binham. Let's start with Stephen Breyer, Supreme Court Justice. And he said, moreover, what we view as money has changed over time. Cowrie shells once were such a medium, but no longer are. Our currency originally included gold coins and bullion, but after 1934, gold could not be used as a medium of exchange. Perhaps one day employees will be paid in Bitcoin or some other type of currency, cryptocurrency. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer. That quote right there is not for those of you already in Bitcoin. It's for the people out there that have heard of Bitcoin and are ignoring it right now. They don't believe in it. They don't think that it's going to impact their life in any kind of way. There's no escaping this. The foundation is being built under your feet. Your jobs that you go to, the billionaires that own those companies, are all implementing blockchain technology, whether you like it or not. I read an article already this morning that Microsoft is already positioned to have billions into crypto infrastructure this year. They already have it slotted. And that's in coalition with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So two Gates entities, the company itself and the foundation, heavily invested. Warren Buffett, who called it rat poison squared, is a major shareholder in Microsoft. And his own company, Berkshire Hathaway, is major investments in the fintech sector that's building the blockchain infrastructure. All the billionaires are getting positioned. The Supreme Court justice is making a prediction for the future. And now you have a regulatory agency, Rostin Binham, CFTC chairman, who says virtual currencies may, actually will, become part of the economic practices of any country, anywhere. Let me repeat that. These currencies are not going away. And they will proliferate to every economy and every part of the planet. Some places, small economies, may become dependent on virtual assets for survival. And these currencies will be outside traditional monetary intermediaries like government, banks, investors, ministries, or international organizations. We are witnessing a technological revolution. Perhaps we are witnessing a modern day miracle. Sounds like freaking George Bailey from It's a Wonderful Life. A modern day miracle. It wasn't a prophet. That's the CFTC chairman, Rostin Binham. They know something. They're preparing for something. And on that news, I see an article from this morning. Well, 2 days ago, actually. Billions living under authoritarian regimes need Bitcoin, says human rights activist. Billions. If billions need Bitcoin, that means the demand for Bitcoin is going to rise, which means the value of the coin as it is today is nothing compared to where it's going to be in the future. And I'm not making this stuff up. It's just simple deduction. But let me put this link in the chat box and see what international news has to say. And you're going to see countries going this way, especially as the world economy starts to collapse. It already is. When reporting on cryptocurrency, the mainstream media often focuses on price drops related to the US dollar. But a human rights activist reminds the general public that Bitcoin is not another commodity or stock on the market, rather a tool for liberation. Bitcoin is freedom. Bitcoin is a tool for freedom, not speculation. Alex Gladstein, Chief Strategy Officer at the Human Rights Foundation, has published an article titled "Why Bitcoin Matters for Freedom" in Time magazine. In it, he explains how cryptocurrency can help people retake control of their lives from oppressive regimes. Speculation, fraud, and greed in the cryptocurrency and blockchain industry have overshadowed the real, liberating potential of Satoshi Nakamoto's invention, writes Gladstein. For people living under authoritarian governments, Bitcoin can be a valuable financial tool as a censorship-resistant medium of exchange. The article focuses on the current situation in Venezuela as a prime example of its thesis. It details how Venezuelans are using Bitcoin to evade runaway hyperinflation and harsh capital controls. It also shows how, after greatly devaluing citizens' savings, the Maduro regime is using the banking system to confiscate much of the money sent from abroad by people that want to help their families back home. Beyond Venezuela, the article notes how Bitcoin can help citizens suffering from inflation in Zimbabwe. Those who want to avoid mass surveillance in China. NGOs that have their bank accounts frozen in Russia. And refugees without access to basic banking services. It also explains that cash fiat is used without government permission, but can be made virtually useless by hyperinflation, and that many countries are moving to become cashless societies, thus strengthening the need for cryptocurrency. In layman's terms, you have other countries like Zimbabwe that their national currency is the United States dollar. And so if dollar is being accepted in multiple countries, then the government can't control the dollar in theory. But the problem is, if the dollar goes through hyperinflation, then it's pointless. It doesn't matter what country you're in. The dollar will be worthless. Bitcoin can never go through inflation. It can never be manipulated. It can never be devalued. Less than 1% of the world's population, no more than 40 million people have ever used Bitcoin. Stop right there. This is January 1st, 2019. My third year dealing with Bitcoin. I bought it for the first time in 2016. Now, I want you to think about this. The internet, 1993. I was watching the news, and they were doing a year in reflection. Then they were doing decade in reflection, and they were talking about how during the Clinton, or actually the first Bush administration, when the internet was out there, and that the AOL dial-up and all that stuff, people didn't believe in the internet. Although it was funny when I took my kids to go see Bumblebee, which is the true Transformers movies, not this modern crap that's been out. They actually did it right. 1987, I was 11 years old. My son's 11. I was telling him this is what life was like in America when I was 11 years old. No cell phones, no tablets, no pagers. Our video game system, I think I had Nintendo by then at least. They showed Pong in the video game, like Atari. Played outside. Parents had no idea where the kids were until it was time for dinner. You know, the good old days. But those days now are changing. The world's getting smaller. And in that movie, they actually created the internet. Not to say it was the Autobots or the Decepticons who did it, Transformers. Worldwide internet system. It doesn't matter your opinion or belief. This is what's happening, whether you like it or not. It's happening. Now, let me continue here. Let me not get distracted. I can say a lot right now. Anyways, less than 1% of the world's population, which means in 2019, January 1st, you guys were at the beginning like you were when the internet first came around. How would you like to have been able to invest in internet-based companies like Amazon back in the 90s? And I will say this because I have somebody saying the dollar won't collapse, saying that with confidence, that the dollar won't collapse. No proof behind why you think it won't collapse. The dollar has collapsed before. In fact, the dollar has already collapsed. It is worth less than 5% of what it was 100 years ago. A $100 bill is worth 13 cents today. $20 at the grocery store is not getting you what $20 got you 40 years ago. It is a slow death. What Venezuela did in 1 year is took the dollar to do in 100. When the rest of the world dumps the debt, like Russia already has, like China's about to do, when the rest of the world figures out we don't need Washington anymore to do transactions international, to buy oil, to buy gold. We don't have to worry about United States sanctions on us because we don't need the dollar anymore. We're using a different currency. When Christine Lagarde, head of the IMF, states that the entire world needs to move from the dollar as its world backup currency, and move to a cryptocurrency coin, I mean, the signs are on the wall. When we just had the greatest stock market crash in December since the Great Depression, when Chase Morgan Bank, that does $6 trillion a day in transactions, already states an 80% chance that the United States will go through a major recession in the next 3 years, when the Donald Trump administration is already gearing up for a recession during the 2020 re-election, I can go on and on and on with facts that back up that is not a matter of if the dollar collapses, it's a matter of when. And the question for you believers in the dollar, thinking dollar is king, is how is it going to affect you? The dollar as we know it will be gone. Now, does that mean cryptocurrency is going to take over? No. And let me rephrase that. The dollar will not be gone. Let me rephrase that. It will not be what it is right now, and cryptocurrencies will be able to work hand in hand with fiat currencies. The only way you eliminate all fiat currencies is if you have one big world government. That's not happening anytime soon. A major tragedy needs to take place for that to happen. If you know the history of money, how in the world did the US dollar become so dominant in the first place? Because after World War II. The world was smashed except for the United States infrastructure, and we helped rebuild the world. And instead of doing what England did and establish a worldwide colonies all over the place, we did it financially and made the rest of the governments dependent on United States dollar, which used to be backed by gold, and that took off in 1971. You removed the gold standard. That was a little bit of history lesson, and that got me sidetracked. Let me continue here. Keep on believing that cash is king. I actually hope that you're right, because too many people are going to be in pain when the bottom falls. As this article says, right now, only less than 1% of the world's population is dealing with Bitcoin. No more than 40 million people out of billions, 7 billion, have ever used Bitcoin. But according to the Human Rights Foundation, more than 50% of the world's population lives under an authoritarian regime. So right now, the Bitcoin's market cap is about 120 something billion. Worldwide currencies, what? 100 and something trillion? If Bitcoin just got 5% of that, 5%, we're talking trillions. What do you think is going to happen to the prices? Not just Bitcoin, but all the coins. If we invest the time and resources to develop user-friendly wallets, more exchanges, and better educational materials for Bitcoin, it has the potential to make a real difference for the 4 billion people who can't trust their rulers. So there's 4 billion people on the planet that's not living in the utopia of the United States democracy. That's why it's hard for Americans to accept the fact that the dollar's on its way out. We're not living in these other countries. We don't know what it's like. For them, Bitcoin can be a way out. When will we see widespread Bitcoin adoption by people living under authoritarian regimes? It's already starting. We're seeing it in Venezuela, we're seeing it in Zimbabwe, we're seeing Iran, we're seeing Russia, we're seeing China, although they're adopting it for different reasons. They're adopting it to get rid of the U.S. sanctions and to become independent. All right, that's a history lesson, geopolitics to begin the year. For those of you who are still skeptical on, is Bitcoin going to go anywhere? And it's not about Bitcoin. It's about cryptocurrencies, because I personally, this is my personal opinion, I do not believe that Bitcoin is going to be that one world global currency. I don't think it will ever go away. I think Bitcoin is going to be the digital version of gold, a store of value. People aren't going to want to trade or sell their Bitcoin. It's going to be another coin that will be that day-to-day, buy, sell coffee type stuff, like people use the dollar for. I just don't know what that coin is, whether it's going to be Bitcoin Cash, the ABC version, the SV version? Will it be Litecoin? Will it be Ripple? And you know what? I'm leaning, not because I want it to, just because looking at the development and what the bankers are doing and all the billionaires, it might be Ripple. And Ripple is not, in my opinion, a cryptocurrency. It has a form of control over it, which is why the banks like it. But I think it might end up being Ripple. All right, next article up. Tony Robbins. What's up with Tony Robbins? How many of you have attended a Tony Robbins event? Go ahead and say so in the chat box. I attended his Walk on Fire event in Florida, and yes, I walked on fire. It was very, very refreshing. I can't say that I actually learned more than I already knew. It reinforced some of the things that I didn't know. Challenged me to take action in certain things in my life. Taught me the importance of the ability to change your physiology. Change your physiology. Those of you that listen to The Secret call Sunday night, I talk about that. The secret. But what does Tony Robbins have to do with Bitcoin? Let's see. After 10 years in existence, Bitcoin has officially made the radar of multi-millionaire motivational speaker Tony Robbins. Team Tony, presumably employees of Robbins, recently posted an article entitled "What You Need to Know About Bitcoin" on TonyRobbins.com, which Robbins promptly tweeted about. Okay, here's something that I do know before I continue, which might shed some light on why he's speaking up now. Tony Robbins has, and I got to be careful how I say this. I don't want lawyers on me. Tony Robbins has an affiliation of some sort with green. What do I mean green, for those of you that don't know? The Green Project, Green X. Tony Robbins, is drop the X, it's just green now, has an affiliation of some sort with green. That's all I'm going to say on that. And the green directors, so to speak, in the month of December, were down in Florida spending a week with Tony Robbins. So you connect the dots, and then all of a sudden, his team is writing an article on Bitcoin now. Well, I mean, I don't know what went on during that week in the private meetings. All I know is that he has an affiliation with green. So let's continue here. So he tweeted, "What the heck is Bitcoin and how does it work? Find out here." Why is he engaging all of a sudden? Those of you that's part of green should be excited. Robbins, most famous for firewalking during his motivational speaking engagements and selling his personal power self-help series to professionals looking to maximize their potential, has in later years taken to giving advice about finances and wealth management. Later years? I mean, he's been doing that for 10 years in one-on-one sessions. The article reads in part, Bitcoin is decentralized. No single bank, government, company, or individual owns the network or has control over it. This means that your accounts can never be frozen. A government cannot devalue the currency. It can be used in every country, and more ominously, now that's an interesting word to use, more ominously, because of the anonymous nature of Bitcoin, the technically savvy can avoid taxation and use Bitcoin as payment for any kind of illegal good or service. That's technically true. I would be careful with that avoiding taxation part, because the IRS will find you, even if it takes 3 to 5 years. While this is the first article to appear on Robbins' website about Bitcoin, last year he described it as a gamble. He told CNBC, I think Bitcoin is very iffy. He followed up by saying, I don't have a clue. Well, there you go right there. He doesn't have a clue. I look at that as it's like going to Vegas. He went on to say that it's just for fun and he knows he could lose. He prefers index funds for investments, at least as of that time. There was once upon a time where I thought Bitcoin was nothing but monopoly money used by nerds living in their mom's basement. In fact, first time I heard about Bitcoin was 2012. So between 2012 all the way to 2016, I thought Bitcoin was a joke for 4 years. That doesn't mean that my opinion couldn't change. It did. Just like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jamie Dimon, Tony Robbins, even Mark Cuban. Those of you that was following it in 2017, when I was covering Mark Cuban in my crypto talks, how he went from Bitcoin is crap and a joke to turning around saying, hey, I think I need to have a percentage of my portfolio into crypto. What? People didn't believe in the internet early on, and look at them now. Tony Robbins, is he the next Bitcoin genius? No, but I'm going to tell you what. Who listens to Tony Robbins? Who is his audience? He's got millions and millions of people around the world. 90% of those people come from the direct selling industry, are into personal development and self-improvement, network marketing, door-to-door sales, that kind of stuff. And then you've got all the top performers in Fortune 500 type companies, not their employees, the owners, the top execs. Those are the ones that listen to Tony. People that need to have that ability to self-motivate themselves because they don't have a boss telling them what to do. Those people are now going to get exposed to Bitcoin and crypto on a massive way, especially the network marketing side. I'm telling you, in 2019, this year, you're going to see a lot of network marketing people from health and wellness type companies, product-based companies that never looked at Bitcoin before. You're going to start hearing them talking about it one way or another. Now that Tony's talking about it, says we can speculate that the posting of an article on his website regarding Bitcoin is likely dipping his toes in the water. If the article garners a lot of attention and it seems like something his client base would be interested in, it might not be long before Robbins is the next Bitcoin evangelist, educating the masses and teaching people how not to get wrecked. I'm more excited to see what he's doing on the green side. Of course, Bitcoin already has its shares of evangelists and professional speakers. Andreas Antonopoulos primarily travels the world addressing audiences on the nature and importance of Bitcoin, and his book, Mastering Bitcoin, is considered one of the most important books on the subject. Before joining the big block crusade and fomenting a fork of the Bitcoin network into Bitcoin Cash, Roger Ver's evangelism was so fervent and frequent that he was dubbed Bitcoin Jesus, within and without the community. One thing is for certain, Robbins has a wide reach. If he were suddenly to become a Bitcoin proponent during the next bull run, it could feasibly take him from millionaire to billionaire. He is already a billionaire. It's just not on the books, regardless of how his own crypto portfolio worked out. That is, I didn't look at it from that angle. That is smart of Tony to do. If his audience starts really getting onto the Bitcoin, he already has a built-in group. Oh man, I can see him starting having Bitcoin seminars. All right, last article up. 2018 stock market crash shreds 76 billion off America's wealthiest. So for those of you who are feeling the pinch and the pain the last couple of months, thinking, you're struggling, you're going through it, you are not alone. Everybody, and I mean everybody, is going through something financially. Everybody. Now, this is important to note. Some people's pain is not the same as everybody's pain. Some people's pain is a little bit different. I got to make sure, am I still on? Because my other, it's not pulling up on here, my other computer. Give me a second here. If you guys can still hear me and see my articles, type Y in the chat box. Got to make sure that I'm still broadcasting. Yes. Yes, I am. I think I am. All right. Stock market crash shreds $76 billion off America's wealthiest. Huh. They're still rich, though. The stock market crash in 2018 shredded billions of the wealthiest Americans. A staggering $76 billion were wiped off their balance sheets. Still, new billionaires were added to the infamous Forbes list, while some industry investors saw their fortune increase and decrease at the same time, per a Bloomberg report. 15 individuals were added to the Forbes 400 list of wealthiest Americans this year. 12 of those were self-made entrepreneurs who have built their fortunes in areas such as e-commerce, transportation, and digital currencies. That's the first time. At the same time, the Bloomberg Billionaire Index saw 31 additions in total, even though $500 billion in wealth was wiped out due to global trade tensions and an unpredictable President Donald Trump. So who won big and who saw the worst losses in 2018? Clear winner of 2018, Jeff Bezos. Think about that. At one point, his company, this is why I tell people why I'm excited about like KGX, for example. We're still here. This month, January 2018 is when I was first approached with the idea of KGX before it was KGX, before it had a name. At the time, it was called Bitcoin's Buyers Club. And then Cryptogenics, and then KGX. KGX survived the market crash or correction. KGX survived the shakeup of ownership. KGX survived projects like Green that is still in development. KGX survived not launching the bot, which 99% of the people who signed up in KGX signed up for because they wanted the bot. They wanted another BitConnect in USI Tech. KGX is still here in a crypto space where most companies don't make it past 6 months. And we're here with more products, leadership intact, a lot of money in the bank. Well, why do I say that? Well, at one point during the dot-com explosion, the bubble burst, Amazon lost 95% of its value. 95%. It was written off as dead and gone. 20 years later, almost 20 years later, what was that, 1998, 99 or so? Maybe 2001, somewhere around in there. 15 years later or so, Jeff Bezos not only became the richest man in the world, but he at one point he was double his wealth to the number 2 guy, Bill Gates. He had double Bill Gates' wealth. Almost $200 billion. That's freaking crazy. What do you think is going to happen with the Bitcoin people? That's why I say Bitcoin billionaire, not millionaires. Jeff Bezos claimed the Iron Throne as the wealthiest man in the world. While he seemed to be engaged in a wrestle for the title with Microsoft owner Bill Gates in 2017, Bezos solidified his place at the top this year. His fortune increased with $26 billion in 2018. Now, he lost like 60 or 70 billion also that same year. So he got almost to 200 billion. The 2018 Amazon rally gave him a net worth of 125 billion and made Bezos the biggest gainer for the second consecutive year. And that's a big smile on his face. Tim Sweeney, the creator of Fortnite. I mean, this Fortnite thing, my 11-year-old loves this game. Fortnite. Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games that has made Fortnite, was another big winner of 2018. The video game became an instant phenomenon in 2018, breaking multiple records. The popularity of the video game increased Tim Sweeney's wealth with $3.6 billion in 2018. The game might have gotten its fair share of criticism, meaning stealing dance moves from everybody else and not paying them for it. But for Tim Sweeney, 2018 has been an incredible booster. And this is leading the way. I saw a meme that said, my generation of kids, when we were kids and we played video games, we got all the cool items and stuff and leveled up based on our grind, based on our accomplishments in the game. These kids today, the kids that grew up with everybody's a winner and everybody gets a trophy and nobody loses, you get your cool items and level up based on how much money you spend by buying items in games. Now, that completely goes against how I operate, how I think, my generation. But these kids, this is why these video game makers now create a whole new model. Give the game away for free and charge you to pay for items in the game. And I almost got suckered. There's this app, whenever I'm out and about and I'm waiting on something, I play a game on my phone called Bricks and Balls. And I get addicted to this thing because it stimulates my brain to solve these little puzzles. And if I get swamped, you can get extra items to help you advance. But guess what? You got to pay for it. Like $1 here, $1 there. And it may not seem like a lot at first, but then you add up how much you spent and you look at how much money did I spend? I had to take the app off my phone. But that's the new model now. And I told my son he can't buy jack squat in Fortnite. He better get on the grind to get what he wants. Anyways, that's the future of gaming. They're going to give these games away for free, and everything in the game you got to pay for. Sweeney's company, the privately held Epic Games, was effectively taken over by Tencent in 2012 for $330 million. Tencent Holdings Limited now owns 40% of the company. Biggest loser, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. The last 12 months have been disastrous for Facebook Inc. and Mark Zuckerberg. The public became aware of multiple data breaches and the Facebook share price has plummeted. This is the perfect time for a competitor to swoop in. I don't think this is the death knell of Facebook at all, because Facebook is now jumping headfirst into blockchain technology. They're going to come up with their own coin, and they've got 2 billion members. 2 billion. Remember, only 40 million people around the world have engaged in crypto. Talk about instant access to people. 2 billion. From the Cambridge Analytica privacy scandal to the departure of WhatsApp founder Jan Koum and his disappointing second quarter earnings, the 34-year-old Zuckerberg saw his net worth drop. 34. It's still tripping. I'm tripping off of that. 34-year-old saw his net worth drop by 20.7 billion, leaving him with just 52 billion. Oh man, somebody get him the bread line. He only has 52 billion. At his age, he took advantage of the internet age. The wealthiest people in the world in the next 10 years, 9 out of 10 is going to be all dealing with blockchain technology and crypto something. Another tech loser is Evan Spiegel and Snapchat. Evan Spiegel, CEO of Snap Inc., has experienced the worst year since Snapchat became a public company, trading under Snap Inc. Snapchat's losses for 2018 were affected by the earnings of Snap Inc., with the company stock selling for an all-time low of $4.99 on Friday. Fear of Snapchat's ability to compete with platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram has created uncertainty for the technology company. Celebrities and users have heavily criticized Snapchat over issues such as its redesign and selection of ads. What about you guys? Were you a big winner in 2018 or a big loser in 2018 or somewhere in between? How is your 2019 going to pan out? With today, everybody is starting this year on the same day, same 365 days in it. The difference is in resources. Some people have more resources than others. That's the only difference. You have the same opportunity. So if you don't have a lot of resources, then your first and number one goal should be this year, I need to accumulate enough resources so that I can start to invest and allow my money to work for me in whatever form that is. Those of you who don't know how to get those resources, that's why KGX is here. Not only are we going to teach you about cryptocurrency, we're going to educate on you, we're going to show you how you can earn at the same time and have the funds and the resources necessary so that you can invest in different things properly. That's the whole point. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting 2019 as if I have nobody. And I'm starting from scratch to make sure that from this point forward, will always be a consistent 7-figure and more year for the rest of my life. But you've got to put your head down and go to work. You've got to do something right now. And before I exit, what is the market doing starting off for 2019? What does the market look like? Because I guarantee it's going to look different a year from now. So coin market cap is at 126 billion. Bitcoin dominance is at 51.7%. Bitcoin itself is at 3737. It's been flat like this for about a week, bouncing between 3,600 and 3,800. Ripple is number 2, Ethereum number 3. They're close. They can flip. Best performers over the last 24 hours. See, I knew that earlier today, or about an hour ago, Paragon coin was up like by 1,500%. That was either a glitch or a pump and dump. So Ravane is the best performer right now at 27%. Veritasium, Bitcoin SV is up 5%. Let's see, Bitcoin Cash is up 0.5%. What about losers? Komodo, 12%. Any top 10, top 20 coins? No. Finance coin up to 13 now, but market is pretty much flat right now. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Everybody's still on vacation. Let's see what happens tomorrow. This time last year, the market was coming straight down. It was the beginning of the crypto recession or the crypto winter. And that this might be going on for the rest of this year. Those of you who've been listening to Da Vinci says that it won't pass $6,500 this year, his belief. But a major event's going to happen January 27th with BACT. And we'll see how that impacts the market. This is good news for us, meaning that while the price is still low, we have an opportunity to stack up as many coins as we possibly can. Those of you that learn how to trade, you're able to make money no matter what the price of Bitcoin is. That's one of my New Year's resolutions as well, to be doing at least 2 to 5% a day, trading on my own money in my own account, doing it by myself. All right, so that is it. We've got a lot of things taking place this month. Those of you that's part of the KGX community, we have the Seattle event coming up. It's going to come up very, very fast. We have new products that's launching. KGX education is still here. You can make a fortune off of just that alone. Put your head down. Let's go to work and let's have some fun this year. All right, everybody. I will be back for late night crypto talk tonight. And I'll see you again. Have a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.